Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to cover how to do flow failures. And specifically, how do we notify the flow builder that a flow failed? Now, Microsoft will notify you in an email basically once a week of your flow failures, unless you build in flow level reporting. And I actually prefer that. You might only have created a couple of flows and you might not be thinking about when they fail and how you're going to troubleshoot that process. But when you've created potentially hundreds of flows across multiple environments, getting notified when they fail and having the specific information necessary to go troubleshoot the issue is incredibly helpful. It definitely helps narrow things down. And you can also build it to identify which parts of a flow failed. And we're going to explain how some of this works in today's video. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, before we begin, don't forget, if you like this kind of content, hit that like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Now, for this one, we're just going to do an instant cloud flow. And we'll go ahead and put a name in here of flow failure admin email demo. Basically, that's what we're doing here is we're going to send an email to the creator of the flow whenever it fails. And we're going to do a manual trigger just for demonstration purposes here. Let's go ahead and select our trigger here. And we're going to add a yes, no. And this is going to be our way of saying whether it's a failure or not. And let's go ahead and add our condition now. So we'll select the control and we'll select the condition. Now, what we want to have happen is our dynamic content. So we'll go ahead and show all this. Our yes, no is equal to true. So if it's true, we're going to force the failure. If it's false, then it's going to be successful. Now, again, if we're here, we want to show what's going to happen. If it's here, let's just go ahead and put a terminate in here and we'll put it as successed. So that one's complete now here. And over here, now let's go ahead and add a compose on here. Now in the compose, we're going to go ahead and add an expression. And for this expression, it depends on which environment you're in. If you're in the commercially available environment, then you're going to use the one I'm going to demonstrate here. And then I'm going to show on the screen the alternate if you're in something like the GCC, for example. And you'll see the difference between these two. So if you're in some other type of environment, you'll know what you need to change to make this work. But for the commercially available environment, it's going to look something like this. And I just go ahead and paste this in there. Again, once I work out the specifics of this, I record it in OneNote, so I don't have to try to rebuild these every single time. I can just look up my previous work on it and reuse this. It's a great way to not have to remember how to build everything and potentially work through syntax errors more than once. But this is essentially what you need for the publicly available, commercially available environment. And all this is doing is putting together our link to actually bring back to this specific flow failure. Now let's go ahead and add that in here. Now for this one, we'll go ahead and change the name and we're going to go ahead and call it failed link. So it's very obvious what this one is for. And when it's a failure here, it's going to create this link. Now we need to get it to ourselves. So we're going to email it. So we're going to go ahead and hit the email and we'll do a send an email v2. Let's go ahead and select this and I'm just going to send it to myself. And then for the subject, we're going to go ahead and say a Power Automate flow failed. Then usually what I like to do is put the name of the flow. And then we'll go ahead and add an expression in here. And again, this is just going to be our flow name. And let's go ahead and hit the add button here. Now in here, we're going to say essentially the same thing. Power Automate flow failed. And then again, we're going to add our expression of the flow name that failed and hit that in there. Now all we have to do is add our compose as our link. And that's really all we need to do. We're going to do some adjustments here in a little bit. We just want to get the basics of this flow set up. Now we do need to, this is success. So we want this to be visually indicated as a failure. So we're going to have to add a terminate option on here also. So we'll go ahead and add that in there. And this is going to be our failed status here. I'm not going to go ahead and put anything else in here for right now. We're just going to leave it as termination. All right, let's go ahead and hit the save button and then let's go test this. All right, let's test. Now we'll do a manual test on this and hit the continue button. Now for this one, we're not going to change anything. So we're going to test our success and let's hit the done button here. And it should follow this path here and terminate as successful. And there it goes. So no email should have been sent and we did not follow this path here. So let's go ahead and try the failure now. So we'll go ahead and test again, manual test. And we're going to change this so that it fails. and we should run this portion of the flow. All right, there we go. And it has sent the email. So let's go ahead and check our email and see what that looks like. All right, and here is our email. So let's go ahead and click on this, and we can see that it's got our flow name here, and then it's got our link. Now let's go ahead and copy this, and then put this into a new browser window here, and hit enter, and then we should see that failed flow. And if we go ahead and expand this, we'll see that it did run just like we expected right here. Now, if we go back to our other window over here, if we hit the back button here, what we should see is that we've got a succeeded and a failure. So when you come in here, you'll still see that it failed. If you don't put that other terminate on there, you'll see succeeded and it actually failed. That makes it a little bit harder to figure out if you're looking at this window, which one's failed. So you do want to make sure that you add that termination step on there to ensure that the actual update here shows as a failed flow. All right, let's go back and edit quick. And we'll expand this. Now, obviously, when you're setting this up for your situation, when you're determining ahead of time that it either is going to fail or success. And for this, we'll look at the send email version 2 here. The first step after you can't really do this with, but basically what we're going to do is take a look at our run after. And we want to make sure that we select the right actions here, right? So we want to make sure that it's after it's failed or maybe has timed out is when you're going to run this stuff. So we're going to run the compose typically after it has either failed or has timed out. Not normally, obviously, if it's successful, we don't want this to run on success. So after a failed action, you just want to make sure you configure that run after for the compose portion of this step so that it runs correctly. So we only want this to run when the actual flow is about to fail. Now, the benefits of this is you can actually build this and put it in different steps. So maybe you've got parallel branches or you've got different scoped items. You can put this in there and then you can modify the email that comes in here to say exactly which step failed. And I like doing this on a lot of my flows, so I know exactly where I'm going to be troubleshooting the flow, especially if I've got potentially dozens of steps in that flow. This makes it a little bit easier to know what's going on and where I need to go troubleshoot for failure. Now, some of the other things you can do is you can modify the actual email information here to include a little bit more information. As we saw, the link, for example, is something we have to copy and paste. That's not exactly ideal. And right now, if we go ahead and select this, for example, and then we go to our hyperlink option here, we don't have the option to put in our dynamic content. Unfortunately, that would be nice. I don't know why Microsoft doesn't give us the option to add our dynamic content directly into here, but we don't have that option. So unfortunately, now what we can do is we can come over here and we can just kind of delete all of this. And then we can go ahead and toggle to our code view here. And we can go ahead and use HTML to make this look a little bit better. So in this case, we'll have a Power Automate flow has failed, and then it's going to have that flow name right here, and then it's going to have a link that they can click here. So let's go ahead and test this. So we'll go ahead and test, and we'll have to do our save and test. And again, we'll do manual. And we'll go ahead and make it fail. So we'll run the flow here, hit the done, and then let's go check our email and see what that looks like. So as we can see here, now we've got our Power Automate flow has failed, the flow name, and then we've got our open failed flow run, and we can open this up and it'll actually take us directly to that failed flow. So a lot better on the settings. And again, a lot of times I'll put specifics about what step broke, especially if it's a lot of different scopes or a lot of different parallel actions. Specifically identify what aspect failed. And that's kind of how I like to do my error handling is exactly like that. Makes it a little bit easier to, when you're looking at the email, to know exactly what is the potential issue. And sometimes if I have a flow failed, and I've got a theory about what might have caused it, maybe I didn't quite track it down, I'll put in there a list of things that I've already checked into there. So it's almost like a troubleshooting email that you receive that really helps you kind of narrow down and troubleshoot some of your failing flows. Now, what are some changes that we could do to this, or things that we could modify to make this work either better or suit our needs? Now, I like to put the compose in here, but you don't have to do this. You can actually build this directly into the email so you don't have this step at all. One of the reasons why I don't like doing that is sometimes this is what fails. And if you put it in here, you won't necessarily know if there's some other element in your email that's having problems. Sometimes it'll tell you exactly what the problem is when there's a failure, but I've come to like actually just having these composes right here, because if this fails for some reason, it'll usually tell you exactly what it is because you can see exactly what you're trying to do. So it's a little easier to troubleshoot, but you could put this directly into here as an expression. So that is always an option. Some other things you can do is the step before this, you can actually pull information from this as far as like what exactly caused it to fail, and you can put that into the email. I'm going to cover scope in next week's video, and I'm actually just going to modify this to include a scope. So it's very easy to understand what scope is for and how you can do it. But one of the things you can do with scope is you can actually pull more information from every step in that scope. So you can actually put an indicator for everything that actually fails in there inside of the email. Now, the reason why I don't like doing the things like that is most of the time, yes, it's easy to do. You can put it in there, but you don't end up using it half the time. So it sounds good in principle, but when you actually start using these, you tend not to spend a lot of time looking at the emails. Yes, if you build in some custom information about what you have had experience with failing in the past, those kinds of notes are far more valuable, in my opinion, than having whatever the Power Automate is going to summarize the action failure for. I like to look at the Power Automate when I'm looking at that information. And half the time when you're just looking at the Power Automate, you can see what caused the issue. And you pair that with having the information right on the screen of why it failed. And that's more than enough for me. That usually works better. Plus, a lot of times for these failures here, it's very easy to just copy it, especially when we put it into a scope. And you can place that into other scopes or into other branches very easily. If you start doing all the action reporting as part of this, it gets really messy and it actually takes a lot longer to implement, and you don't really get a lot of benefit from it, but it is possible. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. If that's something somebody's interested in a future video, I can do that on this channel. But again, I don't think you'll end up using it. So that's why I'm not including it in here. Now, don't forget, if you like this kind of content, hit that like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. That's pretty much it for this video. Again, very basic, very easy approach for this. Hopefully you found this helpful. Until next time.